Welcome everybody to Geek Boots Military Nerds. Here at Geek Boots, we like to tell you about the big green weenie and how it likes to continue to fuck us. Just like basically saying YouTube's new laws.
Suck a fucking dick, motherfucker. Suck a fucking dick.
Motherfucker!
Suck a fucking dick, motherfucker. Suck a fucking dick.
Motherfucker!
Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, share, comment, give us your opinions so we can bring them on the podcast.
Message us in the off time.
Message us in the
Tell us how
off
we're
time.
doing.
Tell us things.
Yep. Tell us things.
Say
What
hi.
did you like? What didn't you not like?
Spread us around. Keep us going.
Raise
Yes,
some-
do that. End of story.
End of
Yeah.
story. Yeah. No,
So,
it's
What you don't understand right now is I had to explain that to the boys and everything, and my son is making hot cocoa as we speak. He's actually behind me. He's literally low crawling on the kitchen floor so that way he isn't in the shot.
there's some
That's
pride. There's some pride in that though. Like
There is.
I mean, that's awesome because my kid, if I would be like, you cannot be in this, he would be like, ah!
Right.
Yeah, I know J4's kids well enough to say that his daughters would be very respectful, but you tell his son, hey, I can't have you in my shot, he would do like that episode where he would purposely get in front of the camera and wave at everybody the entire time. So I'm
Yes.
just like, oh boy.
That would be my kids too. But we do this after
So-
they go to bed.
So yeah, just so all of our viewers know and our listeners, with the new YouTube and everything like that, we are a family-friendly show. We all have kids and we love them very, very much. We just can't put them on there with some of the things that we say.
I'm actually gonna reply to that. We are not a family-friendly show because the last thing I
Yeah.
need is YouTube to listen to that 1 minute in and go, "Oh, really?" and then just take us off without telling us. Because
Hey,
this has been the problem. Is a lot of YouTubers all of a sudden they try and log into their account. Apparently, they didn't even get an email notification saying, "Hey, you violated our terms of service." Their account's gone. Everything's gone. So
Oh, sweet.
it's got to be all rated R or not
So-
rated R at all.
I digress. Let me retract.
Yes.
I retract my previous statement. We are all individually family friendly.
Yes.
The show is not.
No. This is for the military serving everywhere who want to listen to someone who sounds just like them talk about the things they enjoy, i.e. movies and TV, comics, etc. And it allows adult listeners to learn about their military counterpart. So it's
I
all
would not classify us as adult.
legally speaking.
legally speaking.
So yeah, we're gonna season 2 when we get into season 2, we're gonna figure out how to word the big green weenie joke into straight up letting you know, hey, by the way, because it's the big green weenie, that lets you know we are not for kids.
Do not put us on YouTube Kids.
Yeah, exactly. We are continuing the road to Star Wars. We already have done the episodes, so now we're just talking about other fun things like the lore and everything. And of course, with that being said, I'm going to turn on my lightsaber because it just sounds so nice.
Aww.
Because it's, Star Wars fashion.
See, I get to go back next week.
I get to go back next week. Fun fact to anybody who owns
I've
a
invited both of you on multiple occasions,
it's expensive,
and I've told you you have a place to
More
stay.
expensive.
right.
Not
What
fair.
airplane tickets? I'm just saying. No. Fun fact about Galaxy Edge lightsabers. I don't know if I've stated this on a previous episode. I found out when searching the World Wide Web. If you do not want the batteries to die for no reason, discharge the blade out of the hilt, and it won't suck your battery dry. I don't know why, but it's a thing and it works. So there you go. Tonight's episode, we got a couple of things we're going to go over. We're going to do the history of the Jedi and the history of the Sith. The reason why we want to do this is because obviously it's a prominent part of Star Wars, and because a lot of people get certain things wrong about the difference between the two. Yeah, and then
who makes you the expert?
Well, I did a lot
Mel
of
Brooks.
fact checking with. See,
You're like,
in
people
order
get
to
it wrong.
understand the Force, I had to use the Schwartz. The Schwartz is strong with me. And then we're also, before we get into that, we're going to give a message to the toxic fanboys, which why don't we go ahead and turn it over to Point Blank Shot Photography and just give your 2 cents, good sir.
Sure. Okay, I can do 2 cents. I'll
about
shorten
5
it down then.
I mean, you
No,
don't
I-
have to. We got an
No,
hour.
okay.
It's fine.
So, so here we go, and I don't know if anybody hasn't been watching Disney Plus and the new Mandalorian show and everything like that. I love it, but I'm going to say this: I'm hearing from 2 different camps about everything that's wrong with the show. And like the first few episodes came out, and there was a huge. I'm not going to say feminist, but there was a huge argument as to why there weren't any strong female characters in it when there are. And then when finally you get Gina Carano in there, and she is a strong female character, they're like, well, she's just the same people are like, well, she's just the typical like strong arm. You got to beat them up and everything like that. And I'm like, there's no pleasing you people. So we've been talking about this, and we. Do you mind if I read that meme that I sent you guys?
Oh, yes, please do.
Okay.
This meme is derived from the scene where Senator Palpatine, aka Darth Lord Sidious, is telling Anakin about Plagueis. So it's just taking the words, so that way you get a sense of how it's supposed to be portrayed.
Okay. So Darth Sidious, the Chancellor Palpatine, is talking to Anakin. Did you ever hear the tragedy of the butthurt fanboys? They became so convinced of their own horrible fan theories that when it actually came out, they couldn't even enjoy the new Star Wars movie. Grown men screaming about a kids' movie online. They even tried to convince others it was bad. Ironic. For years, they complained of the last film being too derivative. But once they got a more original film, they still cried like little bitches. And that kind of sums it up for me. And I sent it to you guys, and like I want to go back to the time, and I saw another one where I want to go back to a time when people didn't argue over Star Wars. People didn't complain about Star Wars. And then people were like, well, when is that? So do we go back before the sequels, when everybody's worrying about the story and all of these different characters and having a strong female lead, worrying about Kylo Ren and Rey and Finn and having a black stormtrooper and all the different things that they complained about. Back to the days when we complained about, the prequels and all of the CGI and George Lucas just using it as a money grab and everything like that. Then when do we complain about what do we complain about that before then? And I forgot about Solo and Rogue One, how they weren't part of the trilogy, so they didn't count as Star Wars movies. But then we go and when do we stop complaining about that? We complain about Return of the Jedi and the use of Ewoks and all of these Muppets and everything like that to tell a story. Well, before that, we complained about Empire Strikes Back and how it was just this dark film, and it was just left a cliffhanger, and that wasn't how movies should end and everything like that. And so we honestly, to go back to a time when people aren't complaining about Star Wars, is you have to go back to the original Star Wars movie when there was just one. I mean, before the Christmas special that everybody hated and lambasted. But that's the thing. I put it up on my page today because I wanted to talk about it tonight. And I've actually said this with my kids and doing homework with them, and quoted Mr. Incredible. Math is math. When did you change math? And so I put the meme up on my page today. It's Mr. Incredible saying, no, Star Wars is Star Wars. Whether you like the original trilogy, the OG, the prequels, the sequels, the offshoot movies, the shows and everything like that. Star Wars is Star Wars. You like it, or you know what? I mean, keep your mouth shut, please.
I got to throw it back to one of my favorite quotes from a movie that I oddly enjoyed a lot because it glorifies a horrible human being, but the quote is really just, it's super groundbreaking. It's from The Greatest Showman. When was the last time you smiled or had a good laugh? A real laugh. A theater critic who can't find joy in theater. Now who is the real fraud?
Right.
I mean, like, it's so, like, you're a Star Wars fan, but you can't find love for your own fandom. Like,
right. I mean, we hear about toxic fanboys and everything like that.
Over scrutinizing something doesn't make it better.
No,
yeah, exactly.
No, you don't have to. And that's the thing is, like, and we've said this about so many movies. I mean, if you go in wanting to be entertained without any expectations as to what's going to happen, and when your fan theories and everything like that blow up in your face and they don't come true, guess what? That doesn't make the movie bad. That just means your theories were wrong, but you can still enjoy the movie for what it is.
Yeah.
Well, I've even stopped watching like a lot of trailers.
Yeah.
Movies,
Yeah.
just because I don't want it ruined. Like, I did not watch any of the Frozen trailers at all. I went into Frozen completely blind as to what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I saw like the first like the teaser trailer.
Yeah, that
that
very
one where
first one.
she's
That was
when Elsa's running out into the waves.
into the water.
And then,
yeah,
and then that's it. That's all.
that
you
was
had.
the only one
So,
I saw too. That was
Right.
that because I'm okay with teaser trailers a little bit. Like, and the only thing I've seen with the new Star Wars coming out has been that very first teaser trailer.
Yeah.
That's the only one I've watched.
Right. Yeah. To circle that back around to that, the facts that I know about in terms of the Mandalorian, it was fascinating. It was last time I checked, one person who has a notoriety for being kind of for lack of a better word, a feminazi, and they like to just complain about everything they see on social media. Sometimes, it's like, okay, I get your protest. Other times it's just like, can we all just sit back and enjoy something without having to think about all this stuff?
A lot of times things that happen like that are not even people who are fans of something.
Exactly.
They just happen to get wind, or they happen to maybe have watched it because it's what's popular at the moment.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, well, now I have an issue with it, but not knowing the entire backstories or knowing what's going on. And I mean, to be truthful, the first couple episodes of Mandalorian.
To be truthful. Sorry.
To be fair. Oh, sorry.
To be truthful doesn't work.
No, it really doesn't. There's not a whole lot of characters in The Mandalorian.
No.
So to be like, okay, there's no girls. Okay, well, there's two characters.
Right. And there's
one
a bit
of
of
not human.
And
The other one, we can't even see their face.
There's some wind going on right now that these same people that complain that there's not enough women in The Mandalorian are now going to stretch and say that The Mandalorian is female underneath the helmet. And I'm like, you do know that we know the actor behind the helmet, right? Like, and although I will say...
Oh, but come on. We've all seen The Crying Game. We know how that ends.
True. But if you really want to stretch it, we don't know the gender of the little baby Yoda.
We don't.
Sure, we don't. That's why I was saying, between the two characters,
if it even has a gender.
Yeah, there is.
I mean,
the
I'm just saying.
Baby Yoda. Let me not piss anybody off.
Me and Kevin. Calling him Kevin.
I'm just saying.
Kevin.
It's like that Twitter reply about it. Like, stop calling him Baby Yoda, and the guy goes, "Look, I'm not gonna go out of my way and call it the species of Yoda, but I don't know the name of it. So here's this little thing all day long. I'm just gonna call it Baby Yoda until we get a name for it."
Oh,
I'm
no,
just saying.
One of my best friends, this is her hill to die on. The Baby Yoda, like, she hates it, and that is her hill to die on. She posts something every day about how it's not. Like, she even went through when they started putting things on Disney, on the Disney website about, clothing of him.
Yeah.
And it says the child. And she's like, look, Disney even doesn't call it Baby Yoda. She is so mad, like every day. And
I'm over here like
even
First Amendment motherfuckers.
Even our private group, she posts things. There's like my two best friends. It's me and two of my best friends. And the three of us are in this group, and every day she is posting something about it is not. And I'm like, this is, and then me and the other one, we're looking at each other like, we don't really care.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever, but this is her hill to die on, and...
Okay. Here's what I love. So, and I'll even put it up for you guys to see on camera. Target, on the Target website, I've already pre-ordered my Funko Pop, and it says on there, the child, Baby Yoda.
Oh, it says both. Oh my God, send me that link. I'm totally posting it on her.
You're going to troll the shit out of your friend. Your friends are going to be like, we're no longer friends. And this
she's
not the presidential election.
Now, mind you,
not the presidential election. It won't be the presidential election. It'll be that she unfriends you for.
It's in parentheses. So I'm sure she'll come back and say, it's in parentheses, so it doesn't count.
Probably.
I guarantee you when it ships, it may have the name of the species on there or whatever the child's name is, because they just have that there for now as a placeholder because that episode hasn't aired and they don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
That may be the case. We may go the entire season. It's just Baby Yoda.
I mean,
at this point, they might not even release. They'll change that scene around and be like, just kidding, we were going to tell you, but now we're just going to let it go.
Yeah,
right.
Screw you guys.
That's in Disney's wheelhouse to do that. It's just
really
be like, fuck you. I mean, shit.
Okay. We
didn't learn about the Mandalorian's real name until what's his name? I'm spacing on his name, the actor's name. Did it in an interview. He slipped it on an interview. Yeah. It's like he was talking about working with Jon Favreau, and he goes, I get to work with Jon Favreau? God, yes, please get me this role. I need this. And then he just lets it slip not even subtly. There's a good pause around the name for you to hear it. You're just like, oh, well, all right, there it is.
Oh.
Anyways, circling back.
Speaking of Jon Favreau, sorry, I've got to say this. You do know that? Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen The Mandalorian, just go ahead and turn this off now. But this is a couple weeks ago, when everybody came out. The heavy Mandalorian.
Ham.
Yes, Ham. That was Jon Favreau in that armor. Yeah. So, I mean,
well, no, hold on. I heard that he was the voice of that Mandalorian character. He wasn't in the armor. Either way, he is basically playing that character. And, when I saw that meme about calling it Ham, I go, I just want y'all to know, you're officially calling Jon Favreau Ham.
Yes. I love it. I love it.
But circling back to this whole controversy in terms of the toxicity within Star Wars, I find it fascinating the way it shifts around due to the social climates. So the original trilogy comes out, and yes, people had their grievances with Empire and Jedi, even though the tickets sold out like fucking crazy, and the lines went down for blocks. Obviously, like they had done something incredible. They, what have you. But the preludes, a lot of people were like, to me, it felt like the complaint was, yay, we want to know what the story is behind Anakin turning into Darth Vader. But then they complained, the child. They call him the goddamn child. It's funny. With the preludes, it felt like people's complaints were, I don't know, maybe the execution of how George Lucas went about making the preludes. And of course, at that point in time, after Phantom Menace, it was a treatment of, if you like the prequels, you're not a true Star Wars fan. And then you shift gears 30 years later, and we talk about the sequels trilogy, and it's like, it's become this, feminists versus non-feminist movement. It's like all political, and I'm just sitting here going, can I just watch Star Wars and have you all just shut the hell up?
No, no, we have to talk politics while we're talking about our fandom.
Oh, okay.
Seriously.
Well, here's the here's the way I see it. Is there's so many people out there that they're like, you have this position of power. If you're a star, if you're in Hollywood, if you have a voice, you need to use it, and you need to use it for good and everything like that. I'm like, no, shut up. I just want to be entertained. I'm paying my $7. I'm paying my $7 for the ticket. I'm going to pay $20 for popcorn and a Coke. Shut up. Just let me enjoy this.
I mean, I'm not going to say that I don't like when Hollywood movies do pull some things. Yes. But I don't need it to be overanalyzed. Just watch it, learn the lesson, and move on.
I would prefer it if it was technically off of the movie, off of the tours and things like that. Because to me, okay, this goes into almost a whole different topic, but Colin Kaepernick. I've got my issues with the whole entire spiel. But the thing that irks me the most with him, and the reason why I don't believe that he actually cares about the protest. Why? He only wants to do it on the field. If you actually cared, he would be like these other football players who do stuff off field with their community. Why hasn't this guy gone out of his way and do the protest, set up a rally or something? With his notoriety and fame with Nike, he can totally do it. So what my point is I would prefer it if these guys realize, oh, I've got a pull, I've got this fame, I've got people's attention, here's some things I really care about, and go over and do it. I would support the living shit out of it, because to me that says I'm going to do it regardless if I'm on screen or not, because I actually care about what I'm protesting and what I want to bring awareness to. That to me is what I want to see. But that's just me.
We can't say that he's not doing that.
Who?
We can't say that. We can't say that any of these people are not doing that. They may just be doing it behind the scenes or something like that.
Oh, sure, no.
And they don't want. What gets publicized and what doesn't get publicized. That's not up to us. That's up to the agents. That's up to the press and everything like that. So they're going to publicize what gets the headlines. So
to rephrase,
just playing devil's advocate. That's all.
I don't want it in the movie necessarily. I want them to protest on their own, where I could pay attention to the protest and not the movie that you're trying to promote.
Well, the reason why I'm okay with some stuff getting into movies is because some people won't know. Some people won't look or see any of the issues until it's in a movie
their face
or in a TV show, because there are some people who aren't going to go watch the news and they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Or they get their news from The Daily Show or
Facebook.
Yeah.
Their Facebook friends memes.
I heard this through a meme. What?
But it sometimes gets people thinking.
Oh no, for sure. Like
and
the Epstein memes.
Do I want an entire movie about politics? Of course. Well, no, I do like some of those too.
And we kick her. No, I agree.
Oh no, we lost connection.
To a certain extent, I totally agree, because think of it about this: the Epstein memes. I've been sharing them like wildfire.
Oh, me too.
My girlfriend Ruby Echo finally takes it upon herself, because I had a friend of mine. He went after me and gave me a several paragraph spiel about how I'm wrong for posting this, and I'm glorifying Jeffrey Epstein. So my girlfriend Ruby Echo had to ask. She's like, because we're having this debate, and she goes, "Okay, who's Jeffrey Epstein and what happened?" Because she's not fully involved with the news. I told her everything, and she went, "Oh, holy hell." I'm like, yeah, that's why I don't want the memes to die, because it's forcing people to not stop remembering what had happened here. I don't want the world to just go on and on with their daily lives thinking it's just a bypass of memory that there's a Hollywood and political sex scandal that, because other things are happening, we have to forget. Nope, I'm not going to let you forget. Not in my lifetime.
It's your hill to die on.
Exactly. So, but I mean, you're absolutely right. Certain memes, they draw awareness. I just wish people, instead of saying, "See, this meme says this," they would instead go, "Look at this meme. Let me Google this for a second."
Let me take a look, find out what all this is about.
I do that a lot, honestly. I'll see something, I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, and I'll go and look it up.
Well, that's because you're an adult.
No, I'm not. For my child, I am not an adult until I am 59.
Wow. So you got 10 years?
Oh.
I love you. Please don't leave me. So anyway, Toxic Fanboys needs to stop.
Yes.
They need to shut it.
The nice thing is, guess what? We've chewed up half of the episode
talking about that, which is totally fine. Because it's funny. So, okay, with shifting of the gears, I would also like to say closing arguments in terms of the toxicity of the fanboys. These people sitting here hating on Rey because a woman, and they want Luke Skywalker. My response is, this is 30 years after those guys and everything that had happened. What did you expect was going to happen after they die? Do you think the story is just going to be done and over with? New characters are going to show up. Hate to break it to you guys.
The whole planet just goes, or the whole world just goes and gets along all of a sudden.
Excuse me. Here, hold on. This is my impression of Kermit.
Black. Right.
But that ain't none of my business.
And now shifting into gears with Rey and just the Jedi, the Sith, and even the Dark Jedi. We're going to do the history of these two. Now, it's funny that you mentioned how much time we took talking about the toxicity, because I found it fascinating how there's so much involved with the Dark Jedi and the Sith in terms of the history. And then the Jedi history before the movies show up, it's 5 minutes. It's just super short.
Think about it when the movies were made. I mean, it was just planned on the one. So it was just Star Wars. There was no A New Hope. They had to come up with that. So they had to have this story, and then once the story started getting bigger, that universe started expanding, and everybody started getting. So many people just got into, creating this universe, and George Lucas, for as much as we give him shit, is he kind of guided this expanse and everything like that of the Star Wars universe into this entire backstory. And I mean, there was so much. I mean, looking stuff up for this show, I learned a lot, and I'm not going to. I'm not. No, by no means. I'm a fan. I'm not one of those guys that pores over every detail of every ship and every. No, I'm gonna go be entertained. But I learned a lot.
Yeah, I did too. Especially knowing how much there is involved with the Jedi and the Sith, because I really appreciated the hell out of what I learned about the Dark Jedi and the Sith. So. Okay, as some of you, the viewers, know, if you've seen my Instagram, I have dark robes. I've got the black robes. Why? They look nice. I don't know what to tell you. The black robes just look good.
They look good.
They do. And so every time I walked around Jet City Comic Con, a lot of people would say, "Oh, this is your Sith character," and I felt like taking my lightsaber and shoving it up their poop chute. Because I was like, no, I'm not a Sith. And they're like, but you're wearing the black robes. And I'm like, and? Anakin Skywalker had black robes. Some of it was dark brown, but he was wearing a black robe. That's because he was about to become the Sith Lord. Oh my god, I'm going to punch you in the face. Leave me alone. So
thank you for mansplaining Jedi robes to me.
Yes, I hate mansplaining. Can I just say that? It's just it's just over explaining, because you know what? Everybody does it.
Oh, I've started to just add splaining to the end of whatever somebody is doing. It's no longer mansplaining.
Star Wars splaining.
Yeah.
I love that. I'll go with that. No, so there was this thing on Facebook. Buddies
and that's
of mine
tonight's episode.
Right?
Splaining.
Splaining.
Star Wars splaining. Splaining.
No, just splaining.
Splaining. Right? I'm gonna write that down. Hold on. No, so it had sprung up that some buddies of mine posted about a Star Wars group, creating a Star Wars group for Sith characters, and I'm like, I'm not really a Sith, but I would love to join a Star Wars group. That'd be cool. Maybe we should start one for like the Gray or something, or someone who isn't affiliated with these two groups. And they're like, you're just a Sith and you don't realize it. And I go, anyway.
I love it when people tell me what I am.
Right? So I decided, okay, I have to have a conversation, a debate about this. And I did a lot of research on the Sith. And oh my God, there is so much to unravel. So the Jedi is pretty self-explanatory about how it all started. These people were able to use the Force. They started teaching each other. It's super self-explanatory. If you've watched the movies, you know the start of the Jedi Order. It's really so. The only thing to key on in terms of the history of the Jedi, which I found fascinating, was the temple in the Preludes used to be a Sith temple. I did not know that until I did my research. So that was fascinating. But the Dark Jedi and the Sith have quite an extensive history because I guess they've done more, I guess. But the Dark Jedi starts off with this one guy. I can't remember his name. He's learning different methods of becoming a powerful Jedi, a Force user, using a lot of raw emotion, a lot of anger and hate to gain faster knowledge in the Force. And of course, the Jedi Council basically was like, bitch, that ain't what we do. And he got butthurt because obviously his emotions are running high. And he went off to create the Dark Jedi. And you know, it's sprung into conquering planets and enslaving them, which is, you know, just not good time. And then the Sith came about because of a race of creatures that were already called the Sith. And they conquered them and used them as soldiers. And that's where they get the name Sith. And then you have all these guys who are the Sith, but because their hunger for more power and become even better than the others, they end up fighting each other a little bit and creating chaos. The Jedi have to step in and become the law and order. Then you have this huge war between the Jedi and the Sith, but it's because of this mentality that the Sith loses, because they're not only fighting the Jedi, they're fighting each other. So that's when the rule of two comes into play, because they were like, we cannot have this many Sith fighting each other. It brings too much awareness, so we're going to bring the rule of two.
Well, like during the Revolution and everything like that, after the 100 Years Darkness and the war between the Sith and Jedi, there was only one Sith remaining, Darth Bane.
Yes.
So he was the sole survivor of that entire conflict on the Sith side, and he's the one that made up the rule of two, one master, one apprentice. So
yeah, exactly.
I digress. Please.
But that's, you know, there's a lot more involved with it, but that's pretty much it. You know, the more involved that happens goes with Darth Revan, who I guess we can tentatively title him more Revan-kissed, because he never really claimed the true Sith. He claimed, because he was a Jedi, hated the Mandalorian War and how many lives it was taking, and wanted to step in, and the Jedi were like, no, this is not something we need to step involved with. He said that's not right, there's a lot of people dying, and he outcasted himself and exiled himself, left the Order, and took, I don't remember the other Jedi's name. This episode is tentatively titled what again?
Splained.
Splained.
Splaining.
I'm sorry, listeners. I am texting this to the group chat so that I don't forget. Because Lord knows, in this whole entire thing, we're probably going to forget some things.
Oh, yeah.
That happens to me all the time. I'm like, I don't want to sit here and listen to an hour of me. It's weird. So.
Well, the first half of it was all of us.
Yes. And now I'm talking nonstop.
But yeah, no. Well, let's bring it forward onto what's coming out here this month, and dealing with. We focus a lot on the Jedi and the Sith and everything like that, but there's so many different groups out there. So like the First Order right now, and the Knights of Ren, who Kylo Ren is a member of. He was being trained as a Jedi by Luke Skywalker. He's not Sith.
No,
he's not a Sith. I mean, he's the founder of the Knights of Ren. It's just a different offshoot. So let's think about it this way. And for those of you at home that know me, I went to Catholic school from 3rd to 12th grade. I kind of know.
Should I bring a ruler next time I come over?
Oh my goodness. So when Catholicism split, when Martin Luther nailed his theses to the church door, the Catholic Church split, because at that point there was the Catholic Church, Christianity. It was all one church, and then it split. But then once that split off, that was Lutheranism. It shut off into so many different. I mean, you've got Mormons, you've got Presbyterians, you've got Episcopalians, you've got Baptist. I mean, and it just keeps splitting because everybody had their own little belief system. That's what happened with the Force users, and I'm not just going to say Jedi and Sith because there's so many different offshoots, so many different groups out there that are Force users. So you had the Sith, which were the main branch offs way back 5,000 years BBY, which is before Battle of Yavin, if you don't know the terminology. So 5,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, which is what we see in Star Wars. So, so 5,000 years before that is when this split happened, and that's how all of the and the Sith were trying to amass a great weapon to wipe out entire cities, planets, countries, and everything like that. So, and that temple that you were talking about earlier, Tom, and all the statues and everything like that were actually Jedi that were frozen in place. They were basically like petrified and left there. So yeah, it's really interesting reading all of this different stuff and seeing how it ties to not only like the movies that we're watching today, but actual history and actual religion in the world.
There's actually a museum in Arkansas, Hot Springs, Arkansas, that is basically compares Star Wars and Christianity to one another.
Nice.
It's an entire, and they work with a lot of cosplaying and kids and stuff like that. So they do a lot of different charity events and stuff like that. It's called Cosplay Connection. Oh, I'd have to look it up. I can't think of what it is now.
That sounds familiar.
I know. Yeah, we've got Kids Can Cosplay here in Southern California.
But they have a museum, which is what they base everything out of, and then and it's all about Star Wars. I've been to it a few times. It's really neat. They just expanded, and they've got a new building. They used to be on the Hot Springs Strip, but now they've moved off. Oh, goodness.
Is that as cool as the Las Vegas Strip?
No. Being Hot Springs, Arkansas is about this big, and Las Vegas, Nevada is like the size of my room. In comparison.
That reminds me of something that someone had said and I didn't realize until I did it. When I was coming home from Fort Bragg, North Carolina to Washington State, and I went through I think it was Idaho. I want to say it was Idaho, and I was telling them the route I was taking. And they're like, "Oh, yeah, you're going to really enjoy that ride. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, it's going to feel like nothing. Because I went through the top of it. And it felt like I was in Idaho for maybe all of 15 minutes. I just drove right through Idaho, going like, oh, was that it? What happened?
Oh,
there goes Idaho.
Did that just happen?
So, also talking about the history and fun facts, lightsabers and kyber crystals. So kyber crystals are, crystals. These crystals they found, the original Jedi found that can tune with the Force. That's why they're weapons. They crafted out through the hilts. They put the crystal in it, and then they're able to turn on the lightsaber using the Force. That's why I kind of felt a little weird when Finn operated a lightsaber, and I thought to myself, either A, he is Force sensitive and they're not talking about it, or certain people don't know shit about Star Wars. Either way, it was fun to watch Finn fight a stormtrooper with a lightsaber, up until he got his ass handed to him by Kylo Ren.
They've had other characters pick up lightsabers though that weren't Force sensitive, like
Han Solo.
Yes.
So it's this weird thing where it's like the continuity errors are just so much. But
I'm sure there's something to it. Maybe after it's already been like programmed to somebody. I don't know. That's the weirdest way of saying that. But then it already exists. The person who put their Force into it, and then it's there, then maybe somebody who is not Force sensitive can pick it up once it has already been attuned.
Sure. Because, and that leads me to the other big point, is that the color scheme of these lightsabers are attuned and characterized towards the wielder. So the reason why certain Jedi have blue is because of the way their teachings end up taking them. Certain reason why there's a green lightsaber is because of the wisdom style as opposed to the defensive style. Now, the red kyber crystals are synthetic kyber crystals. They're not authentic kyber crystals. However, they're red because of the hate and the malice and the rage that is put into them. When Samuel L. Jackson wanted his purple lightsaber, of course, George Lucas was cool with it, and then he later on had to go, all right, we got to Mandalorian. We got to think of like a backstory of why it's purple, and they came into terms with it when they talked about doing the Revenge of the Sith, which was it's a Jedi who is capable of balancing certain elements of being dark Jedi without going too far into the dark side of the Force, which apparently there's other lore about the reason why Samuel L. Jackson's lightsaber is gold is because of that. His level of being a Jedi grants him certain elements towards his lightsaber. I thought that was fascinating. And then I found out when I was watching Clone Wars, Ahsoka Tano, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Tano. She ends up with lightsabers that are white. We find this is because she meditated and through the Force on 2 Sith lightsabers, red lightsabers, and flushed out the negativity, the hate, and the malice using the Force. Now, I have to admit, on my camera it looks kind of blue, but I do have a white lightsaber, so it's dope. I just wanted to...
I want teal. Can I have teal?
Yes.
Is that there? Is that in existence? So,
I like how he's just like, yes, you can have whatever. Do whatever.
Yeah.
Well, and I've always
just
been fascinated with the lore of the Darksaber.
Oh yes.
Wielded by Pre Vizsla and other Mandalorians.
Yes.
And then finally Darth Maul.
So that's another thing that I'd like to talk about too, because I'm creating my own Star Wars character, and I want him to be Mandalorian. And there is somebody who actually is crafting and selling dark sabers using the same technology as most lightsaber, like Saberforge and whatnot, and they got the whole dark saber, and I'm just like, God, if only I had money. Tar Vizsla, I believe is his name, and he was the first Mandalorian inducted into the Jedis. This, of course, was before the Great Wars and a lot of the other kind of the warrior mentality of the Mandalorian.
And obviously the Empire Purge of the Mandalorians.
Yep, exactly. If I'm not mistaken, Tar Vizsla did his thing and then went back to his home world, kind of bringing his people up, basically, and then he dies. I don't know how he dies, but the Jedi grab the blade and hold it up as a trophy in memory of his great acts that he has done. And then during the Clone Wars, they went in, the Mandalorians basically went in and stole it back for themselves. And then it ended up being in Darth Maul's hands. There is a huge distinctive difference between Jedi, Dark Jedi, and Sith.
Yes.
And I guess ultimately, to kind of cap on what you had said previously, it's a huge universe in a huge galaxy. And as much as I respect George Lucas's statement of saying there's only Jedi, there's only Sith, there's only Dark Jedi, things like that, you gotta admit it's a big universe. It's hard to believe that someone somewhere out there, especially now that the Jedi and Sith orders are both basically extinct for the most part, to sit there and think that somebody's going to come along, understand the Force, start using it, and then just make their own thing. I mean, sorry, George, this is the universe you left it in. That,
hold on.
You know, what?
Well, I mean, without upsetting any of our loyal followers or anything like that, but people have been doing that with Christianity.
Yeah.
I mean, those groups that go out and like wear the funny underwear and everything like that. Oh yeah, the Mormons. They kind of go out and make their own rules.
Taking it for a second, going, wait a minute.
Funny underwear?
Underwear. I was like,
don't you know about that?
What kind of protests have you watched?
Oh no. It's like a full bodysuit that they have to wear. It keeps them pure.
Is that their chastity belt?
Kind of, except it's full body. It's like long underwear.
Robes?
Is it like the bathing suits? Because I know there's modesty suits.
I'm sorry, we have Google at our fingertips. I'm surprised no one's picking up their phone right now. Hold on. Mormon underwear. Oh my god, it's the third thing on the search. Oh! It's like old-timey underwear.
Yeah. Like I said.
That's a lot of junk going on there.
Of course, you're going to look at the junk.
Hold on. You're right. I should have gone with this one. There's nothing there.
That's a little better.
This episode will be on Pornhub. You showed too much people in underwear. Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been kind of a slightly small episode. For announcements, Emerald City Comic-Con, we are hoping a panel gets approved. Otherwise, we are going to try. I'm honestly, because so many people have been telling me through messages what days they will be there and what days they won't be there. I'm kind of contemplating just doing a meetup every day. Just for like
probably smart
30 minutes to an hour, just a meet and greet kind of thing somewhere.
Morning coffee club. Sorry.
There you go. Morning coffee club. Bring the coffee. I'll bring Black Rifle coffee.
What? No.
Right. We have WonderCon. We have Fleet Week. We want to do SoldierCon, but I have no idea when that con will be
or where.
Yeah. So, a lot of things. Like, subscribe, comment, share, tell your friends about us. What are you doing, little Timmy? Give that girl a Never mind.
What?
I don't know where I was going to go with that, but I was going to say, are you having sex? Why not talk about geek boots, military nerds?
That's the appropriate time.
It's the mood music. We got Cosplay Jenemy on here. Just let her talk.
In the
Sarah
swing.
Jane, yeah, in the swing. Swinging around. Oh, God, that face. And then that face. She went from goofy sexy to actual sexy. That's how that works. Anyway, thank you for tuning in.
Well, you know, it's those memes. If you can't have me at my goofy, you don't get me at my actual sexy.
If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve my best. Stay tuned.
That's such a fucking cop-out.
We will see if we're here next week. Otherwise, again, can't say it enough. Thank you for tuning in this year. Thank you for helping us grow on Instagram and on Facebook. Thank you to all the people that I've had the pleasure of meeting that want to support and be a part of this. I love you dearly. Next season's going to be fucking epic. Depending on what happens next year for us to talk about.
He started here and then he trickled down.
Yeah,
it's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be so great. We're gonna talk about stuff.
Exactly. No, I'm just being realistic.
We love you.
I love me too. Yeah, so that's all. I am your host, Tom Cruise, military nerd. Just got my new name changed.
What?
Yep. And with me tonight is Cosplay Jenemy.
Yo, what's up? I don't know. I'm just trying it out. It's so bad.
So what I physically saw was you doing the hands underneath your chin, posing, and then realizing, oh yeah, I need to say something. That's what just happened.
Don't do that again.
Okay.
Even my dog came over here like, what are you doing?
Head tilt and everything. And single
apparently,
dad life.
The street that she's from is Sesame Street.
And single dad life adventures /
what's up, guys?
Photography. Stay tuned next week, see what's going to happen, and we'll be sure to, if there's time and we are available. I mean, it's the holiday season. If we do not get you Rise of Skywalker on the premiere time, we will open up season 2 talking both Rise of Skywalker and Mandalorian. So that's going to be exciting. Because Mandalorian ends like the end of this month, I think. Around the time of Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, we're halfway done with it.
Yeah, so...
Supposedly, this is supposed to be giving some backstory for...
Yes.
So that means that there's going to be a fucking Yoda creature that jumps in and saves the fucking day. Don't do that. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Yeah, we love you so much and hope to see you.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Bye.
Deuces.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Toodles.
Can I stop smiling now?
I hate that so much.
Bye-bye.